All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
There we go. Good morning, everyone. Today's Wednesday. Yes, today's Wednesday, October 19th. It's 10:04 on the East Coast. I am your host, Craig Campbell. You are watching ASAP in the morning. Ray will be joining us in just a few minutes. But while we're in that process of getting everybody here on the show this morning, let me know in the comments down below how we're doing today. You know, where you're watching from. We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We'll get all the socials up in just a minute. But let us know how everyone's doing today, and let's get this show rolling in a minute. You know, important people taking phone calls, all that fun stuff. But hey, let me know how you're doing this morning. I've still got to load a bunch of stuff up. I've been having some technical issues this morning with just my entire setup. So we're trying to get back in the groove here. Here we go. All right. Just like every morning, James Nesbitt's watching from Arizona. Welcome joining from Arizona. That's super early. So appreciate the dedication watching at 7 a.m. This morning out west. But just like every morning, you can find us on all the different social media platforms of All Sports, All Plays Network, on YouTube, ASAP Sports Network, on Facebook at All Sports, All Plays, on Twitter at ASAP Network 1, and on Twitch at ASAP Network. Like, subscribe, share the stream. That helps us out tremendously. Not only us, but also the rest of the network also. This is true. Yes. Always showing up for us. We appreciate it, sir. We always appreciate it. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel wherever you are watching from. We got a few subscriber goals that we're trying to hit for YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all that fun stuff. But so definitely help us out and support the show however you can. And with that said, we're bringing in Ray this morning. I hope, maybe, potentially. There he is. Morning, Ray. Ray is muted. There we go. I have to. Oh, there you go.
Sorry about that. I had to bring in some important phone call from the CEO of this network. Since I am the president, I have to take some phone calls. So sorry about that. We had to take some business calls here, you know, getting the show started right. You know, we got a good show going here today. You know, we got some good topics. We're talking all the way from playoff baseball to the first game of the NBA season to the first shot of firing Mr. Dan Snyder from the Commanders by the Colts. So we got all getting all that too. So
yeah, we got some absolutely great topics to talk about. We're also probably going to be joined by some of our baseball guys. Frankie, I know Frankie told me this morning he has a ton to say coming out of the NLDS clinching win last night against the Guardians, and already turning around in Major League Baseball going into the ALCS tonight. The Yankees are going to play in Houston. That's going to happen later on tonight. So I would imagine we'll probably see a few appearances today from some of the guys that are heavily involved, or should I say close to those respective teams. But all right, I'm just continuing to share out this show. How's your night, Ray? How are you doing? I know I watched a little bit of basketball. I watched the NLCS last night.
Well, let me tell you about my night. I'm uploading about 83 right now. 83 videos has been uploaded to our international channel. That's what I've been doing all night, and I'm still uploading right now. We got about 4 hours and 30 minutes left on a 29 video ad. So we'll have about 101 shows added to the international channel that we got going on here on the All Sports All Place Network. Yes, we are going international. We have reached the United States. We are now going overseas. Try to get some people over there getting some fired up with some American sports and stuff like that. So we got that going on. So my night has been downloading, catching up on Law and Order, SVU, criminal crimes, the original Law and Order, SWAT, NCIS, Los Angeles, the regular NCIS, and NCIS.
Man, you catching up on a lot.
FBI. I watched the FBI last night. FBI Wanted, FBI International, regular FBI. You know, so.
Frankie, this is for you, buddy. There you go. Do it. Yes,
dude. And then and then on top of that, I watched the chat last night. You know, I dived in a couple times, but yeah, Frankie was already starting with Jay on the Houston and New York series before the game was even over. So.
Yeah, those two, we're going to do our best to keep those two separated for at least this whole series on this show, because that's, yeah. Yep, James was watching from Arizona. Yep. What do we think about AD last night?
Slow.
I got some thoughts on the Lakers in general from last night. I definitely want to get to that when we talk about NBA a little bit later. But I guess you want to kick off? You want to talk about?
Do you want
to talk about the NFL section first, or do you want to do baseball?
We can start with the first fire shot by the Colts. Or say if you want to.
Let's do it.
Well,
so, go ahead.
You
Ray.
go ahead and set it up, man.
All right, you want me to set it up?
Yeah, set it up.
So on this show, we've brought you the some of the conversation about what's been happening with Dan Snyder and the owner of the Washington Commanders, and what's the NFL going to do about this situation? Well, what's so happening now is Jim Irsay, I would say he's probably up there in a similar category as far as how much conversation and how much flack he's gotten as an owner for things that he's done away from the office. And Jim Irsay has fired the first shot about forcibly removing Dan Snyder as owner of the Washington Commanders. So my question to you, Ray, is we know Jim Irsay doesn't have anything to lose at this point because he's gone through his stuff. He's been through scandals and everything as owner of the Colts. But my question to you is, now that this has come out, how quickly do you think we see the rest of the owners? Because only 24 of the owners have to vote yes to approve to remove Dan Snyder as owner. How quickly do you think we see Dan Snyder removed as owner of the Washington Commanders?
Well, just like I said, Irsay doesn't have anything to hide. You can't blackmail him because he's been all over the news for selling drugs, all the way prescription drugs, and all the way down to any kind of thing you want to know about Irsay, you can find it online. So he really can't blackmail him. So he shot the first shot today. He shot the first shot saying that he doesn't think Dan Snyder brings any merit to the NFL. He just brings trouble. The Washington Commanders spokesman fired back saying that he's listening too much of fake news, on the situation, that he don't know what he's talking about. But then again, what other owners will? That's going to be the question because we don't know. He said he's got dirt on everybody. Who wants to see if they're going to test his theory out? Does he really have dirt on everybody? So that's going to be the question. If they want to get the dirt out or if they think they can hide the dirt. I mean, Robert Kraft could come out because his dirt's already been aired out. I mean, they can't have too much dirt on him. He went to massage parlors and had a good old time with a little happy ending there. But still, that's two owners right there that probably not going to be scared or anything. Now, Jerry Jones, what kind of things did he have anything on Jerry Jones? That's going to be the thing. I think the biggest one is going to be Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones come out. They're the two top main ones. But what does the Steelers owners, have? I mean, they've been clean all year. They've been clean all the way up to this point. Did he have any dirt on the Steelers? They could come out too, and Tapper. John Tapper don't have too much anything going on because he was vetted before he bought the Carolina Panthers. So they went through all his stuff, his finance and everything. So no dirt came out on him when he bought the Carolina Panthers. And then you got Shad Khan down here in Jacksonville. There's no dirt on Shad Khan because before the Weavers sold it to Shad Khan, the Weavers had him investigated, had him embedded, had a private investigator follow him around, and he agreed to it. Shad Khan agreed to it, so he's got nothing to hide. He's a self-made millionaire by selling bumpers for Toyota and all that. Became a billionaire, and now he's bringing all these business down here to Jacksonville. So Shad Khan could be another person to step out. So you got what? Hersey, Kraft, Khan, Tapper, and the Steelers. You got 5 right there that we don't know if they got any. Shouldn't have any dirt on. That's 5 right there. So Jerry Jones is the one you got to find out if he got any dirt on him. Roger Goodell's got to find out if he got any dirt on him because he's got to approve it once the votes comes to him. And if you're saying 24 things, we don't know what the other owners have. That's going to be the question. Who is willing to take that risk to find out if he's got any dirt on anybody?
And that's something to think about, is that 24 of the 32 owners have to approve this to be done. And it's something that's never been done before in the history of the NFL, where other owners had voted to remove any one owner from their team. This came up from the fall meetings that are happening right now in the NFL. And something else has come up from those same meetings that we'll touch on in just a second. But that's where this conversation came up. Is Jim Irsay was asked about it, and he just said that the explosive interview, the stuff that's come out from this interview, and from the investigation that ESPN has done, he said that it's, quote, gravely concerning, and then said, I believe there's merit to removing him as owner of the Commanders. There's consideration that he should be removed. Now, this is, of course, kind of spun into the Commanders have made a statement. The Commanders have made a statement coming out, not Snyder himself, but the team has made a statement that these things are, what was the quote? It just says they're false, essentially. Oh, they're inappropriate. Inappropriate, that they were painting Snyder in a bad light. And that the results of the investigation should help, will cause Irsay to see Snyder in a better light. So it's very interesting because we've heard a lot about this long history that Snyder has had about workplace conduct and toxicity within his organization. And now, we haven't really heard much of this since the report came out. But Irsay is basically encouraging the rest of the NFL owners to act. We said no moves are going to be made at Tuesday's meetings because they have to basically allow the investigations to continue. They don't want to make any rush to judgments, even though, it kind of sounds like that something will be done about Dan Snyder and what he's been doing as the owner of the Commanders.
Well, let me take it back from all where all this started from. It goes all back when he bought the team from the Cooks. And the way he brought the team, he bullied his way into this buying the team. The coach wasn't ready to sell. People wanted him to sell, but then they didn't want him to sell to Dan Snyder. And the whole process was, because I was up in the D.C. area, I was stationed up there when this whole process started. They knew that Daniel Snyder was bad juju from the get-go. But the NFL owners, he's paid his dues and all this stuff, and the NFL owners approved him. Was not a unanimous approval, by the way. Three of the four teams that I was talking about, the Steelers, per se, and the Colts, and the New England Patriots did not approve Daniel Snyder when he first came in. It was not a full-blown majority approval for that. That's the thing. Now, going back to the inside of the organization itself, the organization was a very well-run organization when the Cooks had it. It was really there. It was on top of things. They had people, you had visitors to go in, you'd be able to go and visit the facilities to allow you to do that. When Daniel Snyder took over, he stopped all that. But I had a friend that works inside the, well, back then when we called the Washington Redskins, when Daniel Snyder took over, Daniel Snyder started hitting on all the secretaries that was there, really to force them to leave. Basically, he didn't want none of the old regime there, so he basically started hitting on some of these secretaries to get them forced out to where they don't want to be there no more. That was a fact, because my friend, she was one of them that he got hit on, and she left because she was married, and she told him she was married. She said, I was just I wanted to still work here, but you start doing all this stuff. But it was a toxic work environment. It went from a good working environment to a toxic work environment, and it hasn't improved yet. So.
Yeah, that doesn't entirely surprise me. If that's the precedent that was set when he came in, sometimes those things are tellers of the future of what's going to happen there. At this time, we've got Ron's joining us this morning. Good morning, Ron. How you been?
Are you there?
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
It's hump day. I'll be better when it's Friday.
Yes, it is hump day. Yep.
So we're having the conversation right now about the NFL owners fall meeting that's been going on this week, and Jim Irsay has come out and basically said that there is merit for the owners to forcibly remove Dan Snyder from his ownership role with the Washington Commanders. And questions posed in the chat to all the viewers. Do you think the NFL will get the 24 owner votes needed to remove Dan Snyder as owner of the Commanders? I don't know how closely you've been following this story, Ron, but I guess what do you make of Jim Irsay's comments and the validity to that potential that Dan Snyder could get removed?
They're not going to be able to do it. I am there. It seems like he has too much. He's too involved in the circle. Just from the outside view, there's not going to be that many people that can, come against him without facing consequences of his backlash. Is really how many of the owners are going to be willing to sacrifice whatever he's going to drop and reveal about their connection through them. Is that kind of, where the story's leading? No one wants to come out and be one of those that's going to say anything because Snyder is corrupt and he's going to bring down whoever he's bringing down with him. And that's scary.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been kind of conversing about when this investigation first came out from ESPN, that we wonder who's gonna fire off the first shot, because of the fact that we don't know, like, is the NFL gonna call Dan Snyder's bluff? Because if so, and Snyder does in fact have some damning evidence and dirt on other owners, that could really open up a huge can of worms for Roger Goodell in the NFL. So I think we can all agree that there's got to be, definitely they're doing their investigation, but there's got to be at this point maybe something that they're like, hey, do your investigation, but don't overlook this, or don't bring this up, or you know what I mean? Like, there has to be something there that either Dan Snyder is completely full of it and just trying to save face and try to save himself, or he does actually have something on some of the owners, and then we're going to have a whole different PR storm for the NFL, which, given where the league is at right now, how much it's been growing, and how much viewership it gets week in and week out, maybe that might end up being something that would hurt one team, multiple teams, or the NFL product as a whole.
Right. And I'm a realist, fellas. This is the Billionaire Boys Club. You can't make $1 billion without doing some corrupt and vile things. They don't want nothing. I feel like he's not going anywhere, or he would have been up out the paint a long time ago.
Yeah,
right.
I
With,
think
our guy from the Raiders. Who was the coach when their news came out?
Oh, Gruden.
John Gruden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. I got one point on that. Thanks for bringing John Gruden up. Do you know Daniel Snyder led the charge on John Gruden getting fired?
I did not.
Yeah, he's the one to release those emails to the NFL.
Yeah, I guess that was his way of showing the league, hey, don't forget who I am. That's wild. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with Snyder.
Yeah, they're still, so the investigations are still ongoing with it's Mary Jo White, who's been a former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York and former U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission chairwoman, is probing the matter on behalf of the NFL. So Roger Goodell has also come out and said in a little interview at the meetings that there's been, quote, little to no discussion, end quote, with ownership about the Snyder issues because they're still allowing this investigation to play out. And it might end up being like other investigations, quote unquote, that they've had before, where they say, oh, we looked into the matter, we couldn't find anything, even though there's clear and obvious evidence saying otherwise. So I think that brings up a good thought process, a little seed of doubt for those that think this should be an open and shut case in removing an owner. It's a good point, Ron. Like, a lot of things have been hidden from that other owners have done in the past, and it's a very small club to be in an NFL ownership group, and they protect each other as best as possible. Unless you're Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft just getting into it at the meetings, but hey, they do protect one another. Like you said, it's a billionaire boys club, and they do their best to protect each other.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, we see Frankie join this morning. Popped in here while we were chit-chatting a little bit
about the Yankees.
Hey, yep, Frankie, you ain't hungover, are you?
Ray, I'm a little hungover.
I'm surprised you made it, because I said yesterday on the show that you either won't make it because you'll be too happy because they won, or you'll be sad because they lost. So you made it. You proved me wrong. So I eat my words.
Yeah, I'm a little hungover. I had a really great night. I should say it was a really, really good one.
As you deserve, as the Yankees do. I was happy. I was like, if the Yankees lose, what are these teams we're going to be left with? The Dodgers and the Braves and the Yankees all out of the playoffs would have been tragic. So, thank you guys for pulling through. Hopefully, Judge can get his swing back.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk some baseball here in a few minutes. Definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on the ALDS, the NLCS game. One was last night as well. We'll have that in a few minutes. Now, sticking with the NFL and kind of moving on a little bit, is that we talked about Dan Snyder in that situation, but there's also been sources that during these meetings, Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft had a heated exchange about Roger Goodell's contract discussion that happened as well, where the NFL owners voted 31-1 on Tuesday to permit their compensation committee to open negotiations on a new contract for Commissioner Roger Goodell. But the one lone opposition was Jerry Jones, who had his own reasons why he felt that it was not the time to open some negotiations. And there was a very heated exchange between Kraft and Jerry Jones, where basically Jerry Jones yelled out, "Don't F with me." And Robert Kraft said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Don't mess with me." So I ask you guys.
Change that tone of voice real quick.
Right? This sounds like the last episode of House of Dragons. Just rich guys going at it for no reason.
So what do you guys make of this? I know these two have not really ever seen eye to eye. Goodell had that contract extension in 2017 as commissioner of the NFL. It was a new 5-year deal. And I guess Jerry Jones's opposition of it is he feels that it should be more performance-based, similar to like when you sign NFL players to contracts.
Yeah.
He doesn't want as much guaranteed money for Roger Goodell to have him get comfortable, but he wants him to have more performance-based incentives to basically help the owners make money too. I think that's kind of how he's looking at it. I mean, obviously the other owners kind of felt differently. Yeah. What do you guys take on this situation? Ron, I want to start with you.
31-1. I would love, he's here by himself. It's hard for any of us to agree with him. And performance-based, I don't want to say Roger Goodell's done a great job, but he's dealt with everything. I can't think of anyone else that could have done his job over the past, how long has it been, a decade?
Since 2006.
2006.
2 decades.
Almost.
Yeah. What else would he need to do to show his performance? I guess make concussion protocol a little bit better.
Yeah, I think part of what Jerry Jones goes into with that defense, I guess, of his vote is that he is an owner of one of, if not the most valuable franchise in North America. I won't say the world, because there are some international football clubs that are worth more than the Dallas Cowboys, but the Cowboys are up there with like the Lakers as far as the most valuable brands in North America. So for Jerry Jones, it's obviously all about the money. He wants to continue to make money hand over fist owning the Cowboys, and I think he must see something that Jerry Jones that Jerry Jones sees that Roger Goodell does that he doesn't like, maybe trying to restrict stuff. No, I can't really understand why, because the NFL has grown so much since Goodell has been the owner. Yeah, he's handled some things pretty poorly with all of his officiating crews, but from a financial standpoint, the NFL is stronger than it's ever been. So that does beg the question of, what does Jerry Jones really see that Roger Goodell's not doing that he feels he should be to be more incentive based rather than salary based?
Oh, Jerry Jones is a big crybaby who just wants money, and he's not getting it. Man, you're the richest paid. You're like the richest owner in the NFL. Stop crying. Boo-hoo. The man, this guy, Roger Goodell, I want him out as commissioner. But what he has been doing for the NFL has been bringing in a lot of money, and he's been doing a lot good lately for them. The man signed a crazy contract with Amazon Prime. The guy's giving us Germany games. He's giving us more London games. He's giving us New Mexico games. He's doing everything, that we actually want to see in the NFL. So I give it to Roger Goodell on what he's doing these past couple of years after signing that extension in 2017. But as a commissioner, I don't think Roger Goodell should be there anymore. I think, they should find someone new. And I think that's where Ron comes into play as well, where he says, who can step up in that position. I'm pretty sure that's why Roger Goodell is still in that position, because they can't find somebody to do that. So what Roger Goodell is doing now, late in this path of him being commissioner since 2006, is he's finally giving us more games. He's giving us an extra week of football. He's given us a longer stretch of NFL playoffs. So he's been turning around as of late. But Jerry Jones is being a big crybaby, a huge crybaby. You want to be the only one that wants to vote him out. Everybody else don't want to vote him out. And then you go to the second richest man in football and my boy Robert Kraft and try to start stuff. Man, you're a big baby. Good thing I'm not a Cowboys fan. Good thing none of us are Cowboy fans.
And I look at it this way too. I met Roger Goodell when he was on the USO tour over in Afghanistan back in 2007, and he came with Drew Brees, him, Eric Davis, and Mike Nolan, and Ron Barr was a sportscaster out of LA who did his radio show from over there, and these all people showed up and stuff like that. So I won a sports trivia question contest. They have dinner with Drew Brees and them. Roger Goodell is the most genuine person I have ever met at the top level of an organization like the NFL. I mean, the dude would sit there. He sit there for hours just answering people's questions they had left and right. And he did not sugarcoat any of his answers. He didn't say, I have to get back with you with this. He actually sit there for 2.5 hours asking Q&A questions that wasn't even freaking, how some people like, you need to send your questions in, let them proofread their questions. He didn't do that. He took them straight off the blocks. And I mean, these guys were asking him questions all the way down to where you see the NFL in 20 years. And he was breaking left and right with all these overseas games and stuff like that. He is trying to figure out something for London. And the way he's going to try to figure that out is they have mentioned putting a division in London. A own division in London. Where
that's crazy.
They should make a European division, Ray. If I'm not a European division would be good. I mean, you got a game that's starting in Germany, and now you got London. Might as well make a European division.
And then he's going into Mexico City in a couple weeks to find out if they will support a NFL type stadium and an NFL team. So that he's thinking about putting a team there too. But another thing too with Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones wants to have everything. If you ever been to the AT&T Stadium, if you go to a convenience store looking for beer near that stadium, you cannot buy a beer within 2 miles of that stadium. You have to buy the beer from AT&T Center. He has a store inside that stadium that opens up Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. That's where the people buy their beer from. That's how much he is controlling where his organization is. But the only thing is he doesn't like Roger Goodell because he puts him in his place every time he tries to do something. Jerry Jones wants an owner that he can micromanage, that he can control. And that's just point blank.
I have a complaint for Mr. Goodell. It has to do with us opening up these other leagues, other teams, whether we talk about Europe or Mexico. Can we take care of our players at home first? Like, we're still having 3 days of rest and playing on a Thursday. We still have a bye week thing to figure out. Like, I'm like, it makes no sense to me why we can't have teams that have their bye week and then they play on a Thursday and give them some more rest. Like, we don't have to make players play 2 games in 10 days.
That too. And also the team that goes over to London, like the Jaguars are going to London soon after this Giants game. They got to come back and play the following Sunday.
Right. It seems simple. Add another week and give us another bye. Every team gets 2.
Oh, stop that. That. The Giants and the Packers just had a London game, and they ended up playing the following Sunday. They both looked terrible. The Giants ended up winning, and the Packers didn't. I don't want to hear that. It happened.
Well, I mean, the Jaguars they've been playing in London for the last 8 years, and they had one bye out of the whole time. They come back and play the next week and got their ass whooped. So, I mean, I would say the argument for that, Frankie, is not that like, hey, it's boo-hoo because of this. It's
if you're talking about, we all know the NFL is a very violent sport, and we've documented that pretty well on this show, talking about the Tua situation, a lot of the other injuries and stuff. But I think what the point of that statement is that we have, the NFL is set up, and when you put a Commanders and Bears as a Thursday night game, give me a break. Nobody wants to see that. But if you would put a team that's coming off of a London trip on a bye week and then come back on a Thursday, the NFL schedule can be set up to optimize guys to actually get the amount of rest that they should get to help keep them as optimal as possible. Because as soon as you hit week 1, no one plays healthy anymore. Everyone's hurt at some level. So that I think everybody understands that. But it's you can kind of avoid some of these really, really sloppy next games because guys didn't get enough rest. They got maybe a practice in and a little bit of film study, but they didn't have enough time to actually re-energize their bodies and get at least back to what they consider normal during the season. I think that's the point that's being made that I completely agree with. I think the NFL can figure something out. They're just choosing not to at this point in time.
And the crazy part about it is it makes their product better. You think it would be logical. But maybe they are slowly getting there. We got rid of 2 preseason games, so that's some space that was freed up. I think we probably only need 1. Is that another week right there? That second preseason week.
The one thing I do like about preseason, and that's it's less, I think, about getting guys starters ready, and it's the way that you can see guys that are trying to make the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
And that's that's what I liked about preseason. 4 was definitely a little too much. 2, it just depends on get the guys out there for a series, maybe a quarter, and then get all the backups in because you got guys that are trying to make teams. But I think they can optimize the schedule a little bit better. And I mean, they've been talking about expanding playoffs at some point. They've been talking about, these extra games. There's a lot of stuff. People love to tune into the NFL, but at what point are they putting detriment to their own players by adding them an extra game? And you've seen some of the injuries guys have sustained just from regular collisions in the NFL, and it puts a toll on their bodies. So I agree with, I think they should optimize the schedule a little bit better, but maybe having a London division like you guys are talking about. They tried that with NFL Europe a long time ago, back in the mid 2000s, and down. Yeah, that did not go well. But I think it was just a different time. I think now if the NFL partnered with another league, or like a feeder league, a development system type league like the NBA has. Obviously, MLB has the minor league system. I think that would be a really interesting alternative.
Yep. I'd watch a game or 2.
Right. I'd watch guys that are in like the Lions system or something like that. But yeah, I think that'd be interesting. But I wanted to bring up from that conversation real quick. This is some of the stuff that from that story about Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones, and the vote is in there. And I thought what was really interesting is Roger Goodell had signed a 5-year deal in 2017. He says in this story by Jeremy Fowler at ESPN that the committee might consider a 2 or 3 year deal. So not a 5-year deal, but a 2 or 3 year deal. So I don't know if that's a Goodell choice or if that's maybe the owner's like, all right, like Frankie said, maybe they're trying to find somebody else, but they just don't have anyone right now. And then you can see what Goodell has kind of done in that next paragraph. They got a new 10-year collective bargaining agreement. They added the 17th game. They made sure the NFL didn't miss any games during COVID. And they landed long-term broadcast deals with new and existing partners worth more than $100 billion. If that's not performance for Jerry Jones, I don't know what is.
Right. And that lowering it the years taking off the contract, that's all I feel like financially based. Like, what's the point of that? Because you could fire him, you guys could vote him out at any second of the day. So why do you have to lower the years and make the money less? Because I'm pretty sure Raj is not happy about that.
Maybe. But the New York Times reported last year that Goodell's total compensation over a 2-year period from 2020 to 2021 was nearly $128 million. Yikes. But
What the hell?
So yeah,
128.
Yes, the total compensation over a 2-year period from 2020 to 2021 was nearly $128 million.
Yep.
The
But
NBA contracts aren't even there yet.
Adam Silver's contract, I don't think, is there yet. Dre said, "What's up, fellas?" Good morning, Dre.
That's what happens when you get an owner that's owner of $1 billion freaking NFL.
Okay, guys, I think Jerry Jones might have been right. I understand why he's saying that's a lot of money. Yeah. Holy smoke.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, Goodell has even said, and later in this article, that in the past he didn't want to be considered someone who stays in the job too long. ESPN reported in 2017 that Goodell told some owners that he would walk away after his next contract, CBA, and rights negotiations. But so maybe that's why they haven't rolled out a new contract. They maybe lessened it from 5 years to 2 or 3 years, something like that. I think Goodell kind of knows that it's time for him to get going too. He has handled some things really well with the NFL, and he's gotten through the negotiations that he told them he would help them get through. And then his quote to end this out, "I'm here for you through that." He told some owners, after that, you guys should start having a conversation about getting a new commissioner. So it sounds like he's about ready to go pretty soon too.
If he signed a 5-year contract in 2017, then shouldn't that contract be expiring coming this season?
Yes, that means it would be expiring this season. And so that's why they're opening up the conversation for an extension potentially. But that's where the compensation committee is going to, basically draw up a contract and say, "Hey, if you want it, it's yours." And then we'll see how that goes.
Now the 2 years or 2 to 3 makes sense. Perfect
Right.
sense.
Yep, because it ends this year, and they're going through they're talking about that expansion you guys mentioned. So it'll be a very interesting story to talk about as we get a little bit closer to the end of the season. We'll see what comes out.
And now I'm back off of Jerry and with the other 31, because like we said in the beginning, Frankie, who could we pick to become the commissioner next year? I would struggle for us to come up with 3 good names, but what I would recommend is that you guys, NFL owners, maybe think about making it a previous black athlete. Something along that lines to further push what the league has been trying to do. And that would be a huge step for the black viewers that's been lost over the past couple of years due to a lot of the shenanigans.
And I think that kind of brings up not only I was just trying to think of some names, and I think Louis Riddick is a really good pick. I think he'd be a great pick. He's worked in front offices before. He's got a really good knowledge of not only the game, but I believe he served as a player on the bargaining committees for the CBAs. I believe. You could correct me on that, but Louis Riddick has been connected to being general manager. Obviously, there's a bit of a different skill set being a commissioner versus working in the front office for teams. But I think there's got to be people that are associate. I know the NBA does associate commissioners or what, I forget what they're called, but that's what Adam Silver served before with David Stern. And I would imagine that they have to Yeah, he was a GM assistant, I believe as well. Andrew Wentworth would be an interesting name. But I know the NBA has I think it's called the associate commissioner.
Yeah.
And they're basically the right-hand person for the NBA commissioner. I imagine the NFL probably has something similar, and there's got to be a few names that would help that out. And I think it would help with the overall viewpoint of the perception of the NFL too. You got a lot of old white owners, and that's just kind of the way it's played out. But if you were to have somebody who's well respected by the league, by the players, that maybe he's
Deion Sanders.
That's hilarious.
That
But-
would be funny.
No freaking way. It would bring up. That's something to talk about. I was going to ask, who's the NFL's version of like a Chris Paul? Do they have one?
Oh, here's another name that actually is brought up. I'm looking up the NFL operations team. Troy Vincent is the executive vice president of football operations. Oh. Troy Vincent, former NFL player, played. I know he was part of he was on the NFLPA, served there, but I think that's an interesting name. I think that would not only bring some positive perception from a lot of NFL fans, but he's also a guy that's very well respected.
So if the four of us sitting here over the past 10 minutes that's not millionaires could come up with a couple of great candidates, maybe Roger Goodell doesn't need the extension.
We'll see.
I'm still sitting here trying to think who's the NFLPA president. Like, you brought up the Chris Paul. You brought up that Chris Paul thing, and I'm still sitting here thinking, like, who's really in charge of the NFLPA right now?
I can tell you that.
The NFL is not a former player. He's what's the third dude's name? He's a lawyer.
So J.C. Tretter is the NFLPA president. He was just reelected in March. And then DeMaurice Smith is the executive director of the NFLPA. So they're two different positions.
Okay.
But DeMaurice Smith is the guy that a lot of people are familiar with in negotiations with the CBA. He's been the face of a lot of those conversations.
Yeah, the NFL don't. So if you want somebody like Chris Paul, there are multiple players that represent each team on that NFL CBA, on the players thing with the CBA for the players and stuff. There's a bunch of people representing each team. They have each rep has a person on that board. The NFL does a little bit different from the NBA does.
Just a little bit different. Just a little bit. But as more of the conversation with the NFL fall owners meeting comes out later this week, we'll bring you more of that stuff here on ASAP in the morning. But let's move on a little bit to some baseball. I know this is where Frankie's just sitting there behind the camera. He's just doing this. He's getting ready.
No, I'm rocking the baby. I'm rocking the baby right now.
Okay. Oh, he's rocking the real baby or figurative or both?
No, I'm figuratively rocking the baby Josh Naylor.
I thought it was hilarious. As I can't remember what it was. If Naylor was, I think it was when Naylor struck out. You could just hear the chants from the crowd.
Yeah, the very first attempt struck out.
They just say, "Who's your daddy?" That's the one thing I love. That's the one thing I love about playoff baseball in New York, in the Yankee Stadium, is those crowds are absolutely wild.
He did it to himself, Craig. Craig, he did it to himself. For one, you did something where you did it. You got a home run on Garrett Cole. Congratulations. But you started celebrating doing that on a point where, for one, you didn't tie it up with the home run, and you didn't take the lead. You just got 1 point on your run, and you were still down. And you want to call Garrett Cole your son? After that, Garrett Cole was locked in, went hard, and struck out basically like 7 in a row, or maybe 6 in a row. I apologize. He went insane. and then you come to New York and you think we don't remember that? Are you kidding me? Josh Naylor, man. Oh man, what a time to be alive. I always say never celebrate too early. If you're gonna do something like that, you better do it when it's an elimination game and you know that you're gonna win it and go on to the next round.
Yeah, and definitely celebrating a little prematurely, but the Guardians had the lead in the series, but then Yankees, they did what they needed to do to storm back and to force a game 5, and then they take that game 5-1 at home. Guardians got their lone run in the 3rd inning, but the Yankees jumped out to an early 3-0 lead in the 1st inning, tacked on a 4th run in the 2nd, and then got their final run in the 5th inning and basically just cruised at that point. Nestor Cortez, had a chance to watch a little bit the end of this game. Nestor Cortez, man, he was out there. He was fired up. He was in it. You know what I mean? Like he was dealing. He had 5 innings pitched. He only allowed the 1 run. He only had 1 walk, only 2 strikeouts. But the big thing is that he only allowed the 1 run. He didn't get himself into really sticky situations. Having to get himself out of too many jams, and credit to that staff, the pitching staff, to do what they had to do against a team in the Guardians that it was a bit surprising that they took the series lead and showed a little bit of power, but Yankees did what they had to do.
So that game was over when they came up and hit that 3-run homer in the 1st inning. That showed the body language just deflated the Guardians right there. Hey, when that home run came up, you can see the dugout, you can see the pitchers, you can see the bullpen. They all just gasp for air. I think that game was won just right off that 3-run homer.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, you look at Anthony Rizzo had that RBI in the 5th inning. And they got their revenge. That was something that Torres said after the game. We got a revenge. We're happy to beat those guys.
That's why you laughed, Greg?
That's why I laughed. I was reading that quote.
He saw the Gleyber Torres. Yeah, I knew you was going to laugh at that.
Yeah, he said, we got a revenge. We're happy to beat those guys. Now they can watch on TV the next series for us.
My question to you, Frankie, is I watched Carlos Stanton hit. Carlos Stanton hits. His batter box stance is kind of weird because it looked like you could pitch him inside. You can probably get a lot of pitches into him. But that dude left the ball over the plate where he was already cocked, ready to go, and he hit it that way he stands. I mean, why don't pitchers more pitch him inside than pitching him outside?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton, his pitching stance is kind of weird. He has that stance where he's gonna always hit the long ball, and I always say, my wife sits next to me. She's watched every Yankee game with me, obviously. She's not a Yankee fan. She's a Wandy Peralta fan. She really loves Wandy Peralta. And that makes me fall in love with her every time because every time the Yankees are on TV, she's like, why isn't Wandy in? And I'm trying to explain to her that Wandy Peralta is a goddamn reliever. And she's over here next to me saying, well, they need to give him a starting job. No, honey, stop it. But Giancarlo Stanton, she looks at him and she goes, why does he have a huge ass? And I say, that's just Giancarlo Stanton. That's just Giancarlo. He's built that way. He's his stance are that way, Craig, because Ray, because so his big ass, he distracts the pitchers. He's looking at the pitcher saying, yeah, look at this ass. Go ahead, give me a pitch because it's distracting you, isn't it? I think Giancarlo Stanton chases more on the outside pitches than he would on the inside. If you give him an inside pitch, he's going to hit that over the fence, no doubt about it. Kind of like Aaron Judge. If you give him an inside pitch a little bit to him, he's going to hit it out of the park. But Giancarlo Stanton's problem is he chases low and aways, low corners, and definitely outside pitches.
But, I mean, if you watch his stance, he's coming across the batter's box. He's going from the corner to the upper corner. You're going from the bottom corner to the upper corner.
Yeah.
And
He
then
takes
when
up
you
the
got
whole box.
yeah, when you take him, but if you pitch the pitch on the inside, not the inner, the way he can get to it, but almost to the way it's the borderline, the black of the plate, which is still a strike zone. If they pitch that ball right there to him, he's no way he can turn on that ball. No way. He'll be off balance then. And I don't understand why pitchers don't go in deep corner on him inside. I know you're probably scared you might hit him because he's got the way he stands, but it's still, you got that shot. Did you get it in there?
He's got the big butt. It's because he got the big butt. He gonna get hit.
No, I'm talking about the inside, not the outside.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, Frankie, is there was that collision early in the game. Aaron Hicks hurt his left knee in colliding with Oswaldo Cabrera, chasing that pop-up by Stephen Kwan. Ended up falling for a single. So Hicks said his postseason's over after an MRI showed the knee requires a 6-week recovery. So I guess the question to you is, going into now the ALCS against the Houston Astros starting tonight, game 1, how big of a loss is that for you guys or for the Yankees, I should say? And, is that going to make a big impact?
I don't think it's really much of a huge loss. I mean, Aaron Hicks hasn't been looking like the Aaron Hicks of the old. It's really sad to see him end his season like this. I mean, Oswaldo Cabrera's got to learn that he made a rookie mistake. You can see even Josh Donaldson was out there, but he pulled back, and Oswaldo wanted to keep going. Like I said, rookie mistake. You got to let Aaron Hicks do his job. That was an outfield ball. Aaron Hicks was literally right under it, and you're playing shortstop. You got to. I understand that the Yankees look at you because you're a young guy and you play every good role at every good position. But when it's playoff time, you gotta do your own job. You gotta stick to the infield if you're a shortstop. Aaron Hicks was out there. He could have got that ball. He couldn't have never gotten hurt on that play. It's really sad, but I mean, it's not gonna make a big impact because I feel like the Yankees are just gonna bring somebody back. Hopefully, Andrew Benintendi. I heard he might be coming back because he wants to play a series. He says his hand is good. But I don't think Aaron Boone wants to risk it or whatever like that, because what if it does get hurt during the series? That won't bring anyone in. We can also bring in DJ LeMahieu. He wasn't in for the ALDS, but now that we're in the ALCS, he could come back and play and put Oswaldo Cabrera in the outfield to cover left. Or you can bring up the rookie, Oswald Peraza. You could bring him up and possibly have him in the shortstop or second baseman. Either way, you're going to have Oswaldo Cabrera covering left field. If not him, like I said, Andrew Benintendi, hopefully. And then if not Andrew Benintendi, then you got Marwin Gonzalez as well.
Yeah, if you look at it too, Houston's pitching, is that going to cause any problems for the Yankees hitters? What does Houston pitcher does better against the Yankees hitters?
Houston's pitching is really good. And last night on Unscripted, me and Jay, we actually had a little heated argument about this because Jay, he relies on his pitchers. And, they look good. And he's always mentioning how our first 3 pitchers are pitchers that are under 3 for the ERA. And I'm trying to explain to him, listen, regular season is different from playoffs, bro. You have Justin Verlander, who literally can be the Cy Young winner this year, who had an ERA under 2, and the man gave up 6 runs in game 1 against Seattle. And then he's mentioning, well, Justin Verlander doesn't like to have 6 days off for rest or whatever like that. Okay, well, Justin Verlander is just coming off a 6-day rest after having a game 1 series, against the Seattle Mariners, and now having to play tonight against the Yankees. That's basically a full week that he had off. So, I mean, you're saying Justin Verlander don't like that, but yet he's going into that, and the Yankees hitters are pretty good. I think honestly the Yankees are going to have a good game tonight against Justin Verlander. They're going to see they definitely did film studies on the plane on their way to Houston last night. I know that for sure. They should have. But I feel like they're also looking at how he played in game 1 against Seattle, because like I said, his 6 days off didn't look really good, and now he's coming off another week off of a rest. And us just playing last night, we're a little on fire right now. I feel like we're gonna come in comfortable tonight hitting against Verlander.
Now the travel. I know the game party ended about 9, 8, 9 o'clock. Now the
Yeah,
travel.
the game ended around like I think 10:10.
All right, so they probably didn't get into Houston until late last night or early this morning.
Yep.
So how does that quick turnaround for them traveling out from New York to Houston? I mean, it's probably about what, a 3 hour flight, maybe 2 hour flight. Give or
Yeah, I'm
say.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Like I said, if they didn't film studies or look at films on the plane on their way there, their best bet was to probably rest on the plane for those 3 hours, get to the hotel, get a couple more hours of rest, wake up really early today, and go do some film studies, and then go out and do your batter practice, go do your pitching sessions, and everything like that. Uh, Stuff like this, it really does suck when you have a game the previous night and then you have to travel the next day to a farther place. It really sucks, but I don't think it's gonna change much on the Yankees. I think the Yankees right now are riding hot, and I think they have the momentum to beat Houston. Houston's a really good team. They really really are. It just comes down to our pitcher, who's actually going to be Jameson Tyone tonight. That kind of scares me against a great hitting of the Astros. But that short that travel thing, it really hurts. But I think the Yankees will be okay.
Yeah, and then to me, the heart and soul of this freaking Houston team is Altuve, but it looked like he's not even in. I mean, how do you keep him off base and not hit? Because if he gets on base, he sets that Houston offense up pretty good.
Yeah, we can't walk him. I don't think we should walk him. Try and attack him. Keep it on the ground on the infield. Or even if you could get him on a pop out, that'll be good. Um, I don't see Altuve being very much effective this playoffs. I mean, the guy was what 0 for 16 in the ALDS. Um, I think our pitchers will be pitching great against Altuve. I think the one person that really scares us is Jordan Alvarez. He's the main guy who on the Astros is a beast hitter.
Yeah, but we know all game baseball. Watch a lot of game baseball, but we know that if a hitter in one series go 0 for 16, and then next thing you know, he comes up and then he starts getting hot in the next series. I mean,
Yeah.
baseball is just a change of momentum and stuff like that. Maybe some of the pitchers he likes for the Yankees, he might like them a little bit better than he did for the last series they played against Seattle. But to me, I think, yeah, you hit it on the spot. They got their power hitter, and he's more of a fastball type hitter, and he can also hit a breaking ball too. I've seen it against the Braves last year that he knocked it over the park. So basically, if you don't have nobody on base, does the Yankees pitch around him a little bit to get him on base and instead of having him hurt you?
I think that that'll be the best opportunity. I mean, try and get him out through via double play, or even trying to because he likes to steal bases, and we have a really good catcher and Jose Trevino who could really throw the ball good to the second baseman to get out and out at second base. So I think if you're not gonna give him a hit, get him on base and try and force a double play on the next batter up. Or at least if he's gonna steal, try and catch him out on a steal.
Yeah, I mean, it helps you a little bit with rest because the game ain't till 7:37 tonight on
Yeah,
TBS.
yeah.
So,
That's the one thing I looked at. I had to look at yesterday after the game. We won. I said, okay, now I have to see what time are we playing. Do we have an early afternoon game or do we have the late night game? And I see we have the late night game. So I'm over here thinking, okay, well, Aaron Boone's gonna be nice. Let the guys sleep on the plane. They get in the hotel, sleep a couple hours, probably sleep until about noon, maybe 1 o'clock. and then get to the ball field and start, probably like a good hour, maybe 2 hours of video watching, and then get out into the field to do some batter practice and some pitching sessions.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, so I know you got the Yankees winning the series, but is it going to go full 7 games?
I think it'll go full 7. Honestly, both me and Jay said that because both these teams are really good. I think it'll go full 7. I said at first that it can go Yankees 6. I honestly thought the Yankees can, or I actually think the Yankees can beat the Astros in 6. But with just how these two teams are just so stacked up, I think this is definitely going to be a good ALCS matchup that'll determine a Game 7 winner winner goes to the World Series, loser ends up going home.
Now we talk about Aaron Judge's chase for the 62 home runs during the regular season. He hit a home run yesterday. Does that light him up now going into this series and getting back to the home run swinging?
Oh, definitely. I think Aaron Judge yesterday played better than he did actually the entire series. He wasn't chasing much. He was letting the pitches come to him. He did strike out twice, but it was good pitches that he got struck out to. So just a little bit early on the swing. But I think him going to Houston, him knowing what's on the line here. If I'm him, I'm not chasing anything. I'm gonna wait for my pitches, and that's something that the Houston Nationals like to do. Is they like to challenge Aaron Judge, and I think Aaron Judge is gonna have a phenomenal series this year against the Astros. I think he might even get another home run today. I've always told Jay, when Aaron Judge isn't at home, he plays a little bit better because he doesn't have that fan base behind his ear always chanting MVP or distracting him or anything like that with the chantings and the cheerings. So I feel like he's going to be comfortable tonight playing in Houston for the next two games, and hopefully have a better series this time around than he did against the Cleveland Guardians.
Now, going up against Joseph Verlander, he's a slow starter getting off the block. If you can hit him quickly and early and get on the scoreboard with him, then he's not effective. But if he gets through the first 2 innings, then he gets more effective as the innings go on. So how does the Yankee jump on him early?
The same way we did against the Guardians last night. We wait for our pitches. Gleyber Torres, that's what he did his first time around. The Gleyber Torres actually went 0 for 1 last night with like about 3 walks. So you wait for your pitches. If you could get on a base by a walk, that's totally fine with me because with the way our lineup is set, I feel like we could start off hot. Gleyber Torres getting on base with the walk, followed by Aaron Judge, who can get a base hit where we can have 2 on. Then you got Anthony Rizzo, who can get a base hit, load up the bases with a Giancarlo Stanton, who everybody knows his velocity is literally one of the highest this year because this guy's just hits so hard. If he could do what he's been doing these last couple of games and getting a home run and hitting a grand slam or something, that'll be an easy 4-0 lead right there. And after that, that's where it starts to they're not getting the hits, right? You got the bottom of the lineup from Josh Donaldson all the way down to the ninth batter, where these guys are even lucky enough to get on base. So by like the second inning, hopefully we can get a second turnaround in the second inning where we can start the lineup again. If you understand what I'm trying to say, like for the first inning, try and get all those hits, try and score what you can, but by the second inning, try and go around with the lineup.
Yeah, and to me, when playing baseball, I know I'm not a Major League Baseball player. I know I played high school ball, and my coach, my high school baseball coach always said, if you can bat all the way till you get to like number 6 or number 7 hitter in your first inning and get your top of the lineup back in the second inning, then you have a great chance of winning baseball games. But if a team goes 3 and out on you in the first inning and it takes you till the 3rd or 4th until you get your top of the lineup back up, then the other team has got an advantage because their pitcher is pitching great. So do you see any way in the concept that if Houston starts off quick with the pitching, is that going to give the Yankees trouble when it gets into the later innings?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if Justin Verlander comes out on fire and just ready to go, it is going to be a little nerve-wracking because I like Jameson Taillon, but I don't like him against the Astros. I just don't. The Astros are just a too heavy hitting team. I feel more comfortable getting an early jump start onto the Astros, where if we get that jump on the lead, our defense will come in and say, okay, well, we have this lead. Let us play some tight defense compared to, okay, we won 1-2-3. Now we have to play defense against this heavy hitting team. That they go up about 2, maybe 3-0, and now the defense is all scattered up. Like, oh God, okay, they're up. Now we got to play crazy. Then the offense comes up. They're forced to try and do something where they're gonna just swing at everything to try and either hit it out of the park or just get fly balls or anything like that. And that's typically what the Yankees do. So if the Astros pitching start off phenomenal with Justin Verlander, I will be a little bit nervous.
Yeah, because if you look at the top performer, Yordan Alvarez has 29 doubles, 2 triples, 37 home runs, 97 RBIs for the Houston Astros. Jeremy Pena is 12 for 39 with a double, a triple, 3 home runs, and 7 RBIs over the past 10 games. Then you got Anthony Rizzo with 21 doubles, a triple, 32 home runs, 75 RBIs while hitting 224 for the Yankees. Aaron Judge, we know him, is 7 for 34 with 3 home runs over the last 10 games. So, that's what you're looking right now. So, I mean, this could be a turn out a good series. To me, for a good baseball game, I will always like to see if it goes to Game 7, that Game 7 goes into extra innings.
Yeah. I mean, we did have a good watch at that with the Astros and the Seattle Mariners when they were trying to force themselves for not getting swept, and they went into about 16, 17 innings.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, Houston won 106 games and lost 56. The Yankees won 99 games and lost 63. The Yankees are 42 and 39 away from home. At home, Houston is 55 and 26. So there you go. I'm a stats guy, so when I bring a lot of stats in there, I look at everything. I look at the away percentages when your team is away from home. They're above 300 away from home for the Yankees. The Houston is almost 31 games above 500 at home. So
I understand you're a stats guy, but I don't look at the regular season stats. Playoffs is always different, in my opinion. I feel like the players come out more motivated. They look at it. They look back at it. And I told Jay this yesterday. I said he's mentioning how I'm not going to mention how we were 4 games over 2 on you guys, but we won 4 games over 2 on you guys, and one of those games were a no. And I go, okay, well, Jay, you're sitting there and thinking, are the Yankees? You thinking the Yankees are not thinking about that no hitter? You're not thinking about the Yankees are not thinking about how they lost 4 games to the Houston Astros out of 6. The Yankees got that in the back of their mind. They're going to come out ready to play. They're going to come out saying, no, you're not going to get another no-hitter on us. We remember that. I think that, I understand the stats. The Houston is good at home and we're okay on the road. But this is playoffs, damn it. This is playoffs. I feel like everything is different in playoffs, momentum-wise. The Yankees are just. I feel like it's our time. It is our time. This is the Astros' 6th consecutive ALCS appearance, and it's our time. It's been since 2009, Ray. You said it to me last night. 2009. I haven't seen a trophy since 2009. I need a damn trophy now.
Well, Frankie, I seen you and Jay battle in the chat, so I just had to put that stat out there because
no, it's cool. And you know what? And what's funny between me and Jay is he thinks that the Houston Astros is this team of from God. They're like the team of Zeus, right? Like, oh yeah, we're the Astros, 6 consecutive ALCS. 4 or 5 World Series appearances. Jay, you're a 50-year-old man who witnessed only one championship in your lifetime for your team.
Well,
Them guys went to about 4 World Series in the past 6 years and got one ring to show for it.
yeah, I got accused of being an Atlanta Braves fan because they were winning all the time. But I became Atlanta Braves fans back in 1976 when they drafted Dale Murphy. When Dale Murphy played for the Atlanta Braves, and Atlanta Braves wasn't a powerhouse team all the way through the 80s. You know, I watched them lose. I watched them play like Bad News Bears. I watched them had a game won and they lost. And then what got me into being an Atlanta Braves fan is when they played that 22-game inning against the Padres, and Dale Murphy hit a home run to win it in the 22nd inning. So that's why I'm a Atlanta Braves fan.
You say the 22nd inning?
Yeah.
Jeez.
22. 22
Dude,
innings.
I'm gonna tell you about that game real quick. That game started at 7:35. I went to the hospital at 9:00 to get 205 stitches in my head because I got hit with a baseball.
What?
Yeah, I was playing pitcher. The guy hit the ball right back to me. I tried to duck at the same time, and the ball hit me right in the head, and I had 205 stitches in my head. They put my stitches in at 9:00. I got out of the hospital at midnight. I made it back home, and they were in the 18th inning.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah. But in this game here too, I see Jay's point of view. I see your point of view on it, and I'm gonna give you a biased objective in this game here. The way the Braves beat Houston last year is they jumped on them early and often. They didn't let Houston, the games that they lost, they let Houston jump on them early. So if you're worrying about your starting pitcher tonight, it's a good cause because his ERA is 3.91. And Justin Verlander's ERA is coming into this game as 1.75 ERA. I mean, tonight it's going to be a battle for the Yankees, but your Yankees, and on the opposite end, your Yankees lineup is dangerous because you still have Carlos Stanton who can hit a home run. You have Aaron Judge coming back to back with him. And then you got Rizzo who's out of his mind playing great baseball right now. So, I mean, you got tough hitters on both sides. But if the Yankees can't jump on Verlander early, Verlander could have his way with this lineup.
Verlander ain't gonna have a way with shit.
We know that. We know that. But I'm just playing the devil advocate here. If you don't jump on Justin Verlander now in the first 2 innings, he gets better from the 3rd inning on up.
I just got breaking news that Justin Verlander is getting Tommy John. So
yeah, right.
Wait, who's your source?
that don't matter, Craig. That don't matter.
It don't matter.
Is that Yankee.com your source?
Yeah, that's an inside source.
That's the black market underground of the Yankees information.
Yeah,
Basically predicting the future.
Hey, it's been good to be on, but I got to jump off. I got another meeting to go to at 12:00. So,
all right, sounds good. Ray, have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
See you tomorrow morning.
Blessings, Ray.
All right.
So we all
Gentlemen,
heard
so
him say it, right? We all heard him say Yankees taking game 1. All right, cool.
Go
you
Yankees.
heard that right. Well, the Yankees playing tonight, game 1 in Houston, 7:37 first pitch scheduled on TBS. Did you guys have a chance to talk about the NLCS? Or
No.
you guys just talk about Yankees and
Yeah.
Astros?
He was just asking me a bunch of questions.
Excellent. So kind of switching sides then to go to the NLCS. Game 1 was last night, and Philadelphia Phillies, they stole game 1, 2-0 in San Diego against the Padres. Basically, I think the story of this game was the pitching duel between Zach Wheeler and Yu Darvish. Those two guys, outside of Yu Darvish giving up 2 solo shots to Harper and Kyle Schwarber, who hit an absolute bomb in the 6th inning. Yu Darvish pitched really well, but I mean, just Zach Wheeler was out there dealing. He had eight strikeouts, only one walk through 7 innings pitched. Both pitchers did really well. They had all their pitches working for them. They were able to spot a lot of their pitches, and it still came down in the 9th inning. The bottom of the 9th, the Padres had 2 on and 1 out. 2 on and 1 out, and Machado goes down swinging, and then Josh Bell goes down swinging to end the game. So I think it's a huge win for the Phillies to take game 1, now getting home field advantage in the National League Championship Series. Guys, I don't know if you had a chance to tune into that game last night, but I mean, I think this is going to be a really good series, and it could go the distance.
Yeah, it really is going to be a really good series. I didn't get the chance to watch that game. I watched my game. Then that game came on. You know, my wife didn't want to watch 2 baseball games at the same time, so I ended up watching Bachelor in Paradise for her. So you know, I didn't get to watch that.
Lord, what a transition!
To have, you know what? It was a great transition, damn it. I watched my team make it to the ALCS, and then I got to see some women get upset because there's other women there at the Paradise.
Okay.
It was amazing.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, but Harper hit his 4th homer of the postseason, and Schwarber sat on that fastball in the 6th inning and hit a 488-foot drive that ended up going into the second deck of Petco Park. And they were saying on the broadcast that not only was that I think that's the longest home run in Petco Park history. It was the second longest home run of the postseason. And it was Kyle Schwarber's, it was the fastest exit velocity of Kyle Schwarber's career at 120 miles an hour. That thing came shooting off the bat and went off in the right field corner. And I mean, that really just took the wind out of San Diego's sails for a while, but they still had a chance. There was the error. There was the error in the 9th inning that allowed to get 2 runners on base, and you know the Padres still had a chance. So the fact that Yu Darvish pitched really well, only allowed the 2 runs, but if you're the Padres, you can't muster 1 hit and expect to win any games in this series.
1 hit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with the lineup that they got and just 1 hit on the Phillies, it's not like you said, it's not going to win you games. And I think, you know, it's just game 1 for them. I feel like there's still a little bit on we eliminated the Dodgers train, and I understand, you know, Philly's got the home field advantage. Most of the time, I'm pretty sure it's more high percentage of a team that wins game 1 ends up winning the series. But game 2 and game 3 to me are most important. I feel like if you lock down and get a game 2 win and especially a game 3 win, you have a more better chance at winning the series than you do if you win a game 1. I think the San Diego Padres are going to turn it around game 2 tonight and hopefully get the win and end up going back to San Diego with a 1-1 tie series.
Yeah, I think that's a big factor. Is you've got to bounce back in game 2. Historically speaking, in the championship series, 64% of the time, the team that wins game 1 ends up winning the series. But I think a lot of the experts predicting this to be a 7-game series, and I mean, based on game 1, I would venture to guess that's very accurate, because these teams, they both bring a lot of stuff to the table, not only from a pitching standpoint, but also at the plate. You can't expect, as a Padres fan, you can't expect that Soto, Machado, and Bell, all those guys are going to struggle that much throughout the rest of the series. But it was a great game throughout. You know, you just didn't know what to expect every time one of these guys came up to the plate. But it was definitely a great baseball playoff atmosphere. San Diego was loud. I don't think it was quite on the level that the Yankees were in that NLDS game, but it was a wild atmosphere for sure. At that point, we got Chris Gonzalez joining on the show this morning. Gonzo, good morning, sir.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
I just want to put on record that Chris picked the Yankees to make the World Series.
Yes, I did. I still
Yes,
think
he
they
did.
will.
Hey, that's my boy, Chris.
I think it's going to be Yankees and Phillies.
Yeah,
East Coast.
I think that would be a I think no matter what matchup we see in the World Series right now, you've got the two teams in the NL that have both been really hot. They've overcome some really tough matchups to make it to this NLCS. And the AL, you got the powerhouses. You got the Yankees and the Astros. And I think either way, I think it's gonna be good for baseball. But of course, the Yankees, the New York Philly rivalry would also be a very fun World Series to watch, I think. I would love to see Bryce Harper go up against Aaron Judge. You know, those matchups I think would be fantastic for baseball.
Yeah, I think tonight's a must-win game for the Padres. If you go lose both your home games, going into Philly down 2-0, I think they could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's it's a must-win game for the Padres tonight. Game 2. That's going to be tonight at. I don't have the time in front of me.
I think it starts actually at 3:30, 3:37 or something like that. They played the early game today.
Yeah, they better. You know why? Because there's just a bunch of wild card teams making it into the NLCS. That's why.
I think
they
they
the good one for you give the good one for the teams that actually deserve to be here.
I think they gave the Yankees the night game because they had to travel.
And yeah, the game because they had to travel and because Houston being in the central time zone as well. But they gave the Padres Phillies
travel, Chris, because they had to, Chris, this time was freaking made like 3 weeks ago. What do you mean because they had to travel?
They do adjust it as necessary though. As needed. But the Phillies Padres is gonna be at 4:35. So Gonzo was right there. It's an afternoon game. That's gonna be on Fox. And then the 7:37 start time for the Yankees Astros, that one we mentioned will be on TBS. Here's a good question for you guys. I'm looking at for each of these games, the over-unders. The Yankees, the over-under is set at 7, and the Phillies Padres, the over-under is at 6.5. So if you guys, I know Gonz, you do the betting shows, the Easy Money betting show. If you guys are looking at that, I think that bodes a little bit to how much offense they think is going to be happening in game 1 and game 2 respectively.
No, yeah, that equals out perfectly, you know, because I do think the Yankees are going to win the 7-0. So that's perfect.
Get 7 runs on Justin Verlander.
Oh, I can see that happening. Get him out of there by the second inning. That'd be so beautiful. Oh, I'm talking so much hell to Jay.
Make sure to just if I see that happen tonight, I'm just gonna go ahead and mute the chat for a little while and just let you guys go.
I'm pretty sure chat's
I did told Jay we're not gonna do this on the chat because I do not want Jay Ness and Ray getting upset at us going back and forth, you know, of all our cursing and stuff like that. They're gonna end up thinking that we're gonna be fighting for real. The next you know, we're gonna be getting kicked out of the network. I don't want that happening.
Actually, Jay said he has a big bottle of Jack and he's gonna make his wife hide his phone from him tonight. So let's see.
When doesn't Jay have a big bottle of Jack?
He should be phoneless.
If you guys do that, just do a phone call or something, and you guys can talk smack all you want. You guys you guys can have a little powwow.
To answer your question, I would take the under on both games. I took the under yesterday on both games, and the under hit yesterday. They had it at 7 yesterday on both games. So I like under 7 on both games. I think both of them are going to be low-scoring, competitive games.
Yeah, I think especially the Phillies Padres. You got Nola on the mound for the Phillies, and you got Snell on the mound for the Padres. Both excellent pitchers. Both have had great postseasons so far. Nola's he's averaged under 0.95 whip in a couple of starts. He's 2-0 in the postseason. And Blake Snell 1-0 in his postseason with a 1.96 whip. So those, I mean, those stats right there, they don't allow a lot of base runners, and they can keep that score down, I think. So I think that's a good pick to take that under for sure, 6.5 with the Phillies and Padres.
The San Diego Padres also have Nola's brother. I would love to see the Padres putting Nola in the lineup today.
Yes. Yeah, they did a jersey swap yesterday. I think it was really funny. I saw on social media their dad had a Phillies jersey on and then the Padres over top of it because his son for the Phillies was not pitching game one, obviously, but had those two jerseys on. That's got to be a pretty cool feeling for the Nola family.
That's not cool. Craig, we don't see shit like that. It's called a two different jersey type on one. You have one side that's Philly and then the other one you have Philly Ego or something like that.
ASAP.
I think that's the only time that's really allowable, if you know what I mean. Like, that's the only time it's allowable. But I'd say it's got to be cool for the Nola family because you have both of your sons in the NLCS.
Oh, yeah.
Playing against each other.
But who do you root for? The oldest?
Right? Yeah. Who do you root for? I mean,
you root for whoever because either or one of them are making the World Series. So
right.
It don't matter.
Right. I think that's it would be really hard to pick, but it's a really cool feeling, I bet, as well for that family.
You got the dad saying, no, the oldest is winning. Then you got the mom saying, our baby boy's going to win. Are you crazy? Listen, I put money on it right now. If the oldest wins, I get a week alone in the house. But if the youngest wins, you get to sign these divorce papers.
Oh, well, those games are tonight. Game 2 of the NLCS tonight and game 1 of the ALCS tonight. Both of those going to be here. We'll be talking about those all week long as they happen. But last night was also another big night for sports, and it was the opener of the NBA where we got to see these gaudy things on the rings of players for the Golden State Warriors. They got their ring ceremony. They hung the banner. And then they went ahead and they showed why they can repeat or have a chance to repeat last night against the Lakers. And I know, Frankie, you and I had a little bit of back and forth in the chat about the Lakers, but I think being a fan of the Lakers, what is something that you saw? First of all, it's great, I think, to have Anthony Davis back and mostly healthy. But what did you see from the Lakers' perspective that you guys what's your one game reaction?
AD. I was really excited to see how AD came out strong. Took over the paint. He looked really good. And I said that all off season. I said you gave that man an entire off season off, and some more because he wasn't there the second half of the year. So he came out good. I feel like they still have a lot to improve on. Russell Westbrook, he did okay. I wouldn't say he did good. He did okay. He did what he was supposed to. You can hear it in the tone of my voice about Westbrook. Patrick Beverly, Patrick Beverly, and LeBron James. LeBron James is LeBron James, man. I mean, it's game 1. Hopefully, defensively we could be better. Offensively, definitely need to be better. But then again, it's the Golden State Warriors. I got a bunch of Laker fans that are on my Facebook, and they're all upset. And I got to tell each and every one of them, you guys really expected the Lakers to beat the Golden State Warriors? I know I'm a Laker fan. I know I post what I post, but I'm not going to sit here and get all butthurt on a game 1 loss against the defending champions on a ring ceremony night. Come on, this is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. This is the same team that just won the goddamn championship. They didn't lose nobody. I mean, they lost one person who surprisingly got a ring last night, and he was on the Lakers. I got really excited. I'm like, oh, look at my man on the Laker wearing the Laker outfit, getting a ring. That's cool. I didn't even notice that he was on the Lakers. So, like I said, it's game 1, a whole lot of game. And Craig said this to me yesterday because I came in quick and trolled the 76ers. I'm like, who's the 76ers fan in here trying to aim for my boy over there, my boy Ron? And
I couldn't figure it out.
I came in a little high, and then Craig's over here like, man, it's only game 1 in the NBA season, and I'm over here like, so who cares? If it was the Lakers, you guys would be trolling me right now.
Facts.
And you know what? Like, I'm gonna stick with Craig's thought. It's game 1. You're not gonna beat the defending champions. You come back out
No,
game 2 and get a win.
I don't know, Frankie. They're celebrating and getting their rings. Somebody posted a picture of LeBron looking at Steph get his ring. Like, you're supposed to want to come in there and beat them down and embarrass them as they get their rings and celebrate. I don't know.
They
about
wanted
that
to.
specific
They
game.
wanted to, but
Right.
you're not. Look at the lineup between the Lakers and the Warriors. You really think that lineup is gonna?
That's what I was going to say. My take is I was watching the game, and it's just like the Lakers, just like guys out there. Like, oh my gosh, who's that defending Andrew Wiggins? And shout out to him. He balled out 4 for 7 from the 3. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they had a guy. Lakers had guys out there I never heard of, Ryan and a couple other guys. I was like, who are these guys?
Exactly. And somebody asked about AD. I don't know if you would agree, Frankie. I mean, he had a decent amount of points, took a lot of shots though, but it looked like a shadow of himself. Maybe it's going to take him a while to come into, prime AD, or maybe he's just never going to be anything close to that again.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. And you got
think-
James Harden being a superstar, of course, in game 1 because it's regular season, but you're not going to see that come playoff time. Just saying. Game 1 for the future.
If you're a Lakers fan, I think you have to take some pride and some hope in the fact that Anthony Davis, he missed a ton of games of the last 2 seasons, but tonight, or I should say last night, he played 35 minutes, which for him,
good.
That's a good start. He was making. I had a chance to watch the first half, and he made some very athletic plays. He had a turn. He basically got in the passing lane and took a ball coast to coast at around half court, I think it was. Errant pass, and he was back turned, and he just turned around, saw it, got a paw out, got it, and went and got a layup. He made a few really athletic plays. Jordan Poole under the basket, trying to get it underneath, and as soon as AD saw it, pulled his arm down. It ended up staying with the Warriors, but he made a couple of plays that makes you, as a Lakers fan or an Anthony Davis fan, to go, okay, that's kind of the AD that we want to be seeing coming off of those injuries. But he finished with 27.6 rebounds in 35 minutes, and I think that's a little hopeful.
He'll put it together.
And what I would be concerned about if you're a fan of the Lakers is that I don't have it exactly in front of me. I'm pretty sure the Lakers only shot like under 30% from the field and from 3-point.
Well, LeBron went 3 for 10 himself. Come on, King James. It's not
so.
that.
But I think the worry is that the knock on the Lakers all offseason was, hey, they got to go and get shooters that are going to help stretch the floor, and they did not do that, and it came to show. They had a lot of guys that were missing wide open threes.
We don't got the money. We don't got the money to get those shooters right now.
Because you got all your money tied up in 3 guys.
Exactly.
And what I was looking at, just looking at the stats, is I don't like how LeBron James had as many assists as every other starter put together. I don't understand how Russ only got 3 and Anthony Davis gets 0. I was going to ask, is it the ball movement? But it sounds like they was bricking, like Rick and Morty's.
Lonnie Walker was 0 for 3 from 3. Pat Bev was 1 for 5. All of his shots were 3-point attempts. He had 5 fouls. Kendrick Nunn was 3 for 6, which wasn't bad. But you got a couple guys out there that all they shot were 3s.
10 for 40.
Toscano Anthony 0 for 3. Russell Westbrook 0 for 3. Anthony Davis 0 for 3 on 3s. They did not shoot well at all. They were 10 of 40 from 3-point range.
The Warriors put up almost like 53 pointers, didn't they?
The Warriors put up 45. They were 16 of 45, so it wasn't a whole lot better. But when Curry Curry was 4 of 13, which you gotta, he's just gonna jack those up. But I think from the Warriors' perspective, I remember at one point watching this game, and I was looking on the floor and counting how many guys were getting meaningful minutes. They can go 10, 11 deep. And that is scary to think about. The Lakers only went 5, 8 guys deep. They only went about 8 guys deep. And the Warriors went 10, 11 guys deep. And I think that's a scary thought for the rest of the NBA, is the fact that the Warriors can now utilize those younger guys, because Wiggins only played 29 minutes. Curry played 32. Klay Thompson only played 19 minutes. But they had Jordan Poole played 28. JaMychal Green, 23. Dante DiVincenzo had 21 minutes. Wiseman came back and finally got a chance to play. He was injured all of last year, so it was great to see him out there. He got 16 minutes. He had 8.7 rebounds. This Warriors team is going to be really, really scary.
And I would say the same thing about the Celtics, watching them just whoop my Sixers tail hinds. Who would have thought the two best teams to start out the season were the two that was in the championship?
Yeah, I think and in that game, Jason Tatum, 35 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. Harden had 35 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. I think out of that game, my question, and I know a friend of mine who covers the New York Knicks and talks a lot of basketball on his podcast, he at one point tweeted out about Joel Embiid, and basically he doesn't play to the basket anymore. He always plays in the perimeter. And for Embiid, I know he was stretching his game a few years ago and started knocking down more 3-pointers, but in a game where I've always thought that he could be one of the most physically dominant players in the NBA, and he does not play like it at all. I don't know, Ron, I know you're, a Sixers guy, like seeing, I don't want to say it's an overreaction, but the Sixers game 1 against the Celtics, who just made the NBA finals, what did you see last night that either made you hopeful or concerned about the Sixers season?
Whew. As a Sixers fan, I feel like that Embiid issue that you just brought up is okay, because I feel I want it to be a wear and tear thing where he's not going to go down there because he has that injury concern. He always usually burns out, body falls apart, and he wants to make it through the season. So I wouldn't really think or worry about that one too much. I would be who's that third person that's going to step up? Is it going to be Maxey? We all know it's not going to be Tobias Harris. So once again, just like we were in the playoffs, we are really relying on Maxey to be a big-time deliverer. That's what I'm going to be watching to see.
I think one thing to make note of, and I don't think this is going to be, like I said, I try not to look too much into one game, but I would hope this is not a trend for the rest of the season. The Sixers, their starters all played major minutes. Harden and Embiid played 37 minutes, Maxey 38, Harris 34, Tucker 33, and guys off their bench, no one had more than 20 minutes on the floor, which was Melton. Yeah. And then you had 2 guys that played less than 15 minutes, Niang and Montrezl Harrell. So if you're only going 6 deep, 7 deep, that's a concern for Philadelphia. And I think that's where...
That's Go ahead, Ron. Another concern. I when you say all of that, I hear coaching, which watching our ball movement as well, like the rotation ball movement. Yeah.
Ron, who's the Phillies? Who's the 76ers coach?
It's still Doc, right? Not crazy, am I?
Well, yeah, but no. So I'm saying, why is it still Doc Rivers? Why is he still there?
Oh, yeah. He should have been gone right with Ben Simmons after that catastrophe. I'm not happy that he's here.
Yeah, your Sixers let me down last night. I picked the Sixers to beat the Celtics last night, and it didn't happen.
Most people did. They were the team that everybody, they could maybe put it all together. I turned it off. I got pissed off.
Yeah, I think one of the concerning things maybe from last night, one of the things I look at a lot is I look at somebody's plus minus on the floor, and if they've and that I think that gives a really good indication beyond the stat sheet, like how well the team is playing with them on the floor. And I mean, they only had two guys. The 76ers had two players that had a plus in the plus minus category. Harden was +1 and Montrezl Harrell was +4. Joel Embiid had a -13. Like that's you don't want to see that. But from the Celtics side, they also played three guys with heavy minutes. Brown, Tatum, and Smart all played over 35 minutes, and Brown and Tatum 35 points apiece. Marcus Smart, I think Malcolm Brogdon, that big acquisition for them. He came off the bench and had 16 points, shot 7 of 11 from the field, 4 assists. He had 2 steals and was +9 in 23 minutes. If you can get that from a bench guy, I think that's going to be scary for the Celtics in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I do too. I'm excited to see the rest of the teams play today. See how some of these other teams look. Pelicans against the Nets. I want to see what that matchup looks like with the Zion Williamson playing now.
Yep, Zion's coming back tonight. That'll be a big one. The Knicks play the Grizzlies opening night on ESPN tonight at 7:30. I think that's a game a lot of people are going to pay attention to. Dallas and Phoenix play at 10 o'clock tonight on ESPN as well. Those are two teams that are going to be fighting for playoff positioning. Then of course I'll give a quick shout out to the Magic open up against my Pistons in Detroit at 7 o'clock. Those are two teams that are just trying to build around their young cores. I think that's going to be a pretty exciting game for fans of those teams. And if you like to watch young exciting players, there's a lot of good talent on that team. But Cleveland Toronto is at 7:30. That game's tonight. So we've got a lot of good slate of games tonight for NBA. It's gonna be great. I don't know how much you guys regularly like to talk or cover NBA, but that's something I love to talk about quite a bit. So I'm really looking forward to this season. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My Pacers open up against the Wizards tonight, so at home. So we'll see what this young Pacer team looks like.
Oh my God, that's like a boring matchup.
Damn, Frank! I'm giving your Yankees some support. You're just burying my team.
That's a different sport.
You guys got a good Rookie of the Year candidate, though. I think, right?
Oh,
the Pacers,
Mathurin.
Not
Ben
rookie.
Mathurin. Yeah,
we all know who's going to win Rookie of the Year, Banchero. But you guys gotta looking to see what he can do. Along with
Paolo's going to be fun.
You guys got a fun team.
That's one thing. Like living near Orlando, getting a chance to see some of the guys play last year. They've got some good. You got Franz Wagner. You got Jalen Suggs is trying to have a bounce back year. He had really struggled his rookie year. Paolo is going to be a lot of fun to watch in the at the forward position. But then also for the Pistons, you got Cade Cunningham in his second year. He was in that Rookie of the Year conversation. He was one of only 3 guys to average 23, 6, and 6 for a month as a rookie, joining Oscar Robertson and Michael Jordan to do that. And then you got Jaden Ivey out of Purdue, who's a Detroit kid, and he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. There's a lot of it's going to be a very exciting game, I think, to watch those two teams go at it tonight. But Ben Mathurin, a rookie that was considered to be kind of one of the top picks as well. The top 10 pick. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year in Indy, and they're trying to, find their way. Maybe they get rid of Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Yeah. That remains to be seen. But I think if they do that,
right.
As long as they don't get Westbrook, if they get rid of them too, I'll be fine with it.
That's what you guys are going to have to do. Find another young steal to spice that mix up. And there's going to be, everybody's going to be doing wild stuff this year as we tank for the greatest prospect ever. I'm
I
looking.
don't. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
You
no.
say-
I was gonna say that. I had a chance to watch. Wemendaya. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know.
Man, that dude is man, he's nasty.
we got to find him a nickname ASAP.
Yep, I agree. I watched that game. It was him and I forget the name off the top of my head. The other big name prospect that's going to be in this next year's draft. Scoop. Yes, thank you. I watched those two go at it on ESPN like last week or 2 weeks ago. The G League Ignite play against them. Those two guys are fun to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing those two play out throughout this draft process, and it's I think those are going to be two other bright young stars to help join the NBA.
Right.
And
you get that first or second pick, your franchise is changed for the next decade. I'm looking forward to Bradley Beal getting traded, Dame. Every team needs to be, it's going to be fun.
It just makes it hard to tank in the NBA, though, because even if you're get the worst record, it don't guarantee you that you're going to get that first pick. Why they do that lottery?
Yeah, you get the best percent chance. Yeah, the best odds, but yeah, I think that's how they've tried to prevent tanking in Major League or in NBA, because I know MLB was talking about trying to do something similar to prevent tanking.
I think NFL could do something similar to that to prevent teams just from trying to lose on purpose.
Yeah, I think it's definitely you don't like to see it teams tank, but the payoff is huge, because if we go back to when Philadelphia was doing it for so many years, when the core players that they drafted started actually like coming together and got healthy. Now we're talking about Philadelphia was pushing for the playoffs, and they were getting themselves in the conversation, and then they made some moves to get themselves into that championship conversation. A lot of that stems all the way back from when they were tanking and everyone was giving them a hard time for it. That's what teams do, is if you're not one of the haves, like the Warriors, the Lakers, the teams that will go out and like the Lakers go out and acquire their talent. A lot of teams got to build through the draft, especially like the Bucks are another good example. They had to build through the draft. And the only way you can build through the draft is either A, have really, really good scouts that can find some diamonds in the rough, or B, you got to get some of those top tier prospects like these guys that are coming out this next year in the NBA draft, and they can change the direction of your franchise. And the only way to do that is to get lucky and hit top of the lottery, or tank enough to make sure that you can get one of those top picks.
Yeah, amen. And it's not what Philly did is egregious. And it was over a stretch of years. Man, I went to some of those games and it's like, why am I here? Because I
worked for the Sixers for a season during that stretch, and I could not tell you how many profanities were thrown in my direction trying to talk about getting people to come to games.
Oh my God.
It was rough. It was rough.
Rooting for Milton. But this year, getting rid of somebody that you have on your team that's a great player that you're not going to be moving forward with, that's getting old, i.e. Dame, when you could get a whole package of beautiful assets and be a top lottery team in this draft, it would be literally irresponsible as a franchise. So just make the losing look good.
Right. You want to see, and like, I think the Pistons are a good example of that last year, where you had Cade Cunningham, and that's the future of the franchise. They still want to develop good habits with the young players, but they didn't win a whole lot, and it still put them in a position to get Jaden Ivey. And now this year, the expectations are a little bit higher. You're talking about potentially competing for a play-in game, but I think the expectation should be the same. You still want to have competitive games. Don't be getting blown out, but if you still lose a bunch, there's still another good draft class right around the corner, and allow those guys to get their footing in the NBA. It takes a couple seasons a lot of times for many guys to really get adjusted to the game, learn, have multiple off seasons of being just dedicated to training, not focusing on all this other stuff, the draft process and, classes and all that kind of stuff. Let guys develop a year, for a year or two in the NBA system, and then you can kind of see that come to fruition. But I think as long as you're not getting blown out and you're showing that, hey, there is hope for the future, I think that's what most fans expect of teams that are not in position to compete for championships and playoff spots.
No,
Yeah,
no, I
Chris.
agree.
You hear that, Chris? Like the Patriots.
Just keep it competitive. That's all we ask for, right?
I think we'll be competitive this year. We don't have a bad lineup with Halliburton. No, we don't have a terrible lineup. We got some good young players. We'll see what happens.
Oh my God!
That's going to be. I'll tell you what, Chris. Being in that same division with you, it's going to be tough. You got Cleveland, Milwaukee, Chicago. All those teams are competing for playoff spots, and then you got the Pistons and the Pacers. So it's going to be tough. In that, it's going to be one of the tougher divisions. Not quite like the Pacific Division out west, but I would not be surprised if, both of our teams are in the 20 to 30 wins range, 20-25 wins range.
That should be the goal.
Yeah, I think for the Pistons, so they had 23 wins last year. My expectation is if they get more than 30, that's a big win because you've still got a really young team that's developing, and 30 to 35 wins will get you in the play-in.
And you still get to be in the lottery. But as more games come up, we will obviously bring you some of the great storylines and some of the great topics of conversation all throughout the NBA season. We'll be touching that here on ASAP in the morning. But make sure you're throwing those comments in the chat with us. We like to interact with everyone. We'll answer any of the questions. Any of the good points y'all bring up. We definitely like to interact with everyone as well. But if you like all the content that we have here on ASAP in the morning and on any of the other great shows that we have on the All Sports All Plays Network, make sure you go like, subscribe, share, and follow any of these accounts on our social medias. We've got on YouTube, ASAP Sports Network, on Facebook at All Sports All Plays, on Twitter at ASAP Network 1, and on Twitch at ASAP Network. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the sub button, comment in the chats, and we like to answer all those questions, and we can bring you all the very latest here on ASAP Network. Today, we got the afternoon blitz coming up this afternoon, easy money also this afternoon, and then gentlemen, it's Wednesday. It is hump day, as Ron said at the beginning of the show when he came in. It's hump day. I hope y'all have a great Wednesday. I know you guys got a couple things lined up. Great day for sports. Yeah.
AL, NLCS.
Yankees about
NBA.
to hump on that Astros. We're going to hump all over Houston today.
Oh, my gosh.
We didn't even talk hockey or college football. Hockey's going on tonight as well. College football this weekend. We'll talk about some of the matchups later this week coming up.
One college football game tonight. Appalachian State plays. I forget who they play now.
Appalachian State. Let's find out. I have no idea. I don't see any games listed here.
You said whatever they were called, and it just sounds boring. That's like mentioning the Broncos in a game. It's just boring.
App State does put up. They do put up some points. They play Georgia State tonight.
Yeah, Georgia State tonight.
Georgia State, 7:30 on ESPN2. But college football, we'll talk about that a little bit later this week. Previewing some of the big matchups coming up this weekend. We got a few top 25 games that are going to happen on Saturday. But for the rest of the crew, for Gonzo, for Ron, for Frankie, I am Craig. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. We will see you tomorrow morning here on ASAP in the morning at 10 a.m. Eastern here on ASAP Network. Have a good one, everyone.
Yankees.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.